complained that he was making her soft. The warmth Judy felt at home was in stark contrast to the way she felt at school, where she often sat alone during lunch. When they were called upon in classes to work in groups of 2 or 3, she excused herself and asked for the wooden bathroom pass, so that she often worked alone instead of facing the humiliation of not being chosen. She had not grown up with friends, nor had Margaret, so it almost felt normal to live mostly inside herself this way. There were girls from the block who looked at her with what she read as pity. "Nice skirt," one would say almost reluctantly. "Thanks," she'd say, a little shy to be noticed. "Mother made it." Small talk was more painful than silence. How had the other Negro girls managed to move with such ease here after living almost exclusively with other Negroes down in Harlem? Someone up here was as likely to have a brogue accent as a Spanish one. She didn't mind the mingling of the races, it was just new. A shock to the system, both in the streets she walked to go to school and to the market, but also in the halls of Morris High School. Judy had been eating an apple, her back pressed against the cafeteria wall, when she saw Herbert. He was long-faced, with a square jaw and round, black W.E.B. Du Bois glasses. "That's all you're having for lunch? It's no wonder you're so slim," he said, like he was continuing a conversation they had been having for a while. Rich, coming from him, with his lanky gait, his knobby knees pressing against his slacks. A pile of assorted foods rose from his blue tray, tantalizing her. A sandwich thick with meat and cheese and lettuce, potato chips off to the side, a sweating bottle of Coke beside that. For years, they had all lived so lean that it had become a shock to suddenly see some people making up for lost time with their food. Judy finished chewing her apple and gathered her skirt closer to her. "You offering to share your lunch with me?" Herbert gave her a slight smile. "Surely you didn't think all this was for me." They were fast friends after that. It was easy for her to make room for a man who looked at her without pity. There had always been room in her life for someone like him, one who saw, who comforted, who provided. Her father, James, grumbled disapproval when Herbert asked to court, but Herbert came with sunflowers and his father's moonshine. "What kind of man do you take me for?" James asked, eyeing Herbert's neat, slim tie and sniffing sharply to inhale the obnoxious musk of too much aftershave. "A man who wants his daughter to be loved completely," Herbert said, "the way that I love her." Their courting began. Judy had no other offers and didn't want any. That they had James's blessing before he died from a heart attack, and just as they were getting ready to graduate from high school, only softened the blow of his loss a little. As demure and to herself as she usually was, burying her father turned Judy more inward than Herbert expected. In his death, she seemed to retreat into herself the way that she had been when he approached her that lunch hour. To draw her out, to bring her back, he proposed marriage. She balked. "Can I belong to someone else?" Judy asked Margaret, telling her that Herbert asked for her hand. "I hardly feel like I belong to myself." "This is what women do," Margaret said immediately. The ceremony was small, with a reception that hummed with nosy neighbors, stopping over to bring slim envelopes of money to gift to the bride and her mother. The older Negro women in the neighborhood, who wore the same faded floral house dresses as Margaret, except for today when she put one of her 2 special dresses, a radiant sky blue that made her amber eyes look surrounded in gold light, visited her without much to say, just dollar bills folded in their pockets, slipped into her grateful hands. They were not exactly her friends. She worked